Let's start the session now. So let me first quickly introduce myself. My name is Amit, and I am one of the faculty members of Career Revenues. I have been a faculty since the time that Career Revenues started, and I work with them on the aptitude section of all the examinations, whether it is CAT or GATE or GMAT or any other examinations. So I work on the aptitude side of things, and I've had a good many years of teaching experience in aptitude. I have also given an examination called as CAT, in which I had a 99.9 percentile. So aptitude has been my thing. I have written the Career Revenues Architecture book, the aptitude book. I have written a lot of books on aptitude as well. So once you guys start going through all the books, etc., you will probably have a lot more questions to ask of me. Okay. All right. So let's start the session now. GATE architecture is what we all are here for, and I've been associated with GATE for almost 10 years now. The first thing I want to tell all of you is I've had a look. I've worked with close to almost 15 to 18,000 students of GATE, and there are 2 or 3 kinds of students of GATE. One are the set of students who start pretty early, like you guys. 10 to 12 months is a good enough time to start your preparation, and you would be able to, if you do everything well, be able to do very good preparation. And architecture is not an examination which has got a very large amount of content to study, very large amount of formulae to learn or remember, compared to, let us say, something like a civil engineering, a mechanical engineering, and electronics or something like that, where the vastness of the portion is almost 2 times or 3 times what is required of an architecture student. So you have a lot limited portion compared to other students of GATE. So 10 months is good enough for you to do one full round of preparation, couple of full rounds of revision, and answer a lot of tests. Okay, that I would believe should more than suffice, and really, honestly, no one requires that intensive kind of preparation. So it sounds good at this point of time. What do you feel? Do you think this is going to work for everybody? Just feel freely. I mean, you all can unmute yourself right now, and we can have a proper conversation. Tell me, what do you guys feel that having started so early, you should be able to do things right? What's on your mind? Anyone can speak. Tanmay, you can speak. Shruti or the others, if you can, please share your views. Do you think that we got sufficient time to prepare for GATE? Tanmay?
Yes, sir.
आपको लगता है कि अपने पास sufficient time है prepare करने के लिए as far as GATE is concerned?
Yes, sir. Time sufficient hai, but consistency should be there. But like only initial focus will not be sufficient. The requirement of preparation.
Okay, so you mentioned one very, very important word called as consistency. Can you explain to me a little more about what you mean by consistency?
I mean that like if we prepare with high motivation at the start, but it starts to lose with time, then it will not be sufficient for the better result that we can get.
I 100% agree with you, but I will tell you a little more about it. Yes, I agree with you. Anybody else with a different viewpoint, or you would like to say something, either with what Tanmay has said or something different from what Tanmay has said? Who are these people with the code B7, B8? If you can also please contribute.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Like I think like we have quite a lot of time. So there'll be some overconfident that we have a lot of time. So that will be like we have a lot of time. We have a lot of time. So that keeps pulling us.
So what happens when we have overconfidence and we have a lot of time?
That eventually, like it is like people equal to who starts late.
It becomes equal to people who start late, correct?
Yeah.
Very, very interesting analogy. What's your name, please?
Lavanya, sir.
Lavanya. Great. I think that's a very, very interesting insight that you have, Lavanya. Okay, I have noted that down as well. Great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Lavanya. I will talk about that as well.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
B8, who is B8, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
What's your name?
एक्चुअली मतलब मेरे को ऐसा मतलब लगता है कि चीजों को लेट सीखने से बेटर है कि आप थोड़ा जल्दी सीखना वो करें।
Okay.
तो सर मतलब मेन रीजन मतलब अभी तो जैसे मैं अगर अपने कॉलेज की बात करता हूँ तो अभी मेरा मतलब नया जो सेमेस्टर है वो स्टार्ट हुआ है मतलब तो अभी मतलब वो इतना हेक्टिक नहीं है बट अभी साथ साथ जैसे जैसे सब मिड आ जाएगा सेमेस्टर का तो टाइम मैनेजमेंट में और थोड़ा इस पर्सनल सेल्फ स्टडी के लिए टाइम देना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा तो वो जो टाइम मैनेजमेंट वाली एक चीज है वो एक चैलेंज है हमारे लिए।
बिल्कुल, टाइम मैनेजमेंट विल बी अ चैलेंज बिकॉज जब टाइम आएगा टू पुट इन मोर नंबर ऑफ आवर्स, ऐसा हो सकता है कि कॉलेज के अंदर और भी कोई एक्टिविटी चल रही है या लाइफ के अंदर और भी कोई एक्टिविटी चल रही है एंड देयरफॉर यू विल बी रिक्वायर्ड टू पुट इन अ लॉट मोर एफर्ट ऑन दैट साइड, राइट?
यस सर, यस सर।
Great, great. So I am speaking a little bit in Hindi. I hope you don't mind. Most of my teaching is going to be in English, but in case somebody is not comfortable with Hindi, please let me know. I will 100% shift to English. That's not an issue, right? So what's your name?
Sir, my name is Adil.
Adil. Great, Adil. Okay. I hear you, Adil, that time management is a major concern that you have. And Shruti, what do you have to say on the same thing?
Sir, I think we have enough time to prepare. So after the classes are done, we have enough time to revise as well.
Correct.
So I think that will work well for us.
Shruti, when you say enough time,
yeah.
Let's say that when you have started your preparation now, okay, 10, 11 months before the actual GATE examination, do you have a thought process in terms of how many hours per week, how many hours per day are you going to spend for this? How how are you going to plan out your entire preparation? Have you done that plan?
No, not right now.
Not right now.
I will do that soon.
So at this point of time, you're on a clean slate. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, very, very logically speaking, and this is a question for all of you, anyone can speak. Isn't it always the best practice to first make a plan, figure out, what is required, where we are at this point of time, how much is the gap, and then accordingly you work towards it, right? And put some milestones in the middle to check whether you are on track or you're not on track, right? And if you are not on track, then take corrective action. Isn't that a very, very simple, logical, standard approach towards any kind of an endeavor, not necessarily preparing for an exam, but anything and everything in life? Isn't it a very simple approach?
Yes.
Okay. So you are going to have sessions from me once every month. And besides teaching aptitude, I will be focusing on something called as strategy for exam preparation, which is what my core skill is. I have been working with the students for the most competitive examinations in the country, including GATE. So I work with CAT students, I work with GMAT students, etc., to address these skills, which is self-motivation, the problem of where to start, how to start, what if I'm having starting trouble, what if I'm not able to build some kind of a momentum, okay? Or problems like, okay, I started with the big bang, but I am fizzling out, I have started taking breaks, I'm not that motivated, etc. So I try to solve those kind of problems of students. Or the problems are academic in nature, in the sense I am not understanding a few things, or I'm putting in a lot of effort, but my marks, my results are not showing when other students are able to answer a question in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I'm taking 5 minutes. Sometimes I'm not able to get to the answer. So a lot of doubts go in people's mind. These are the kind of doubts, queries, concerns that people have that I try and resolve with each of you. And how do we resolve it? It is normally on a one-on-one kind of a discussion, because the problem that two people may have, like I can see that there's a Shruti and a Tanmay. Now they may have exactly the same problem, but the solution to that may be different based upon the way Shruti thinks, the way Shruti works, the knowledge that Shruti has, and the way Tanmay thinks or works, and the knowledge that Tanmay has. So my focus in my sessions is going to be spend 15-20 minutes asking students on how they have done, whether they have a plan, help them make a plan. And the rest of my time, I'll be teaching a few concepts which are very, very critical in the preparation for GATE examination. My focus area is primarily going to be aptitude. But please also note that I understand more or less the entire architecture exam, so I can 100% answer all your queries with regard to planning for the GATE architecture examination studies, right? Okay. Couple of points that people made. Some of the points that I really found interesting was Tanmay spoke about consistency, that we require consistency. Consistency, I am just hoping that all of you have a pen and paper to make a plan, because we are going to start now making a plan for ourselves. Okay, so you're all sitting with pen and paper, I hope. Consistency basically means that every week, if not every day, we are reaching somewhere and we are working towards a goal. So we are able to see that goal. Maybe we cannot see the goal 1 year down the line, but if I have smaller goals, so if I have a 6 months target, I have a 3 months target, and then I make it into a 1 month target. At least from here, I can see the 1 month and the 3 month target, if not the 6 month and the 12 month target. And then I am seeing every week to what extent I am able to reach that 1 month and the 3 month target. Okay. And if once in a while, if 1 week or 2 weeks, I do not meet my target, it does not significantly derail my entire plan. It derails it, but I know that it is easy to put it back on track, but I cannot afford to have too many derailments. Then my train is going to go just off the track. Correct? So planning here means first having an idea about the long-term goal. Long-term goal is very, very simple. Getting a 60 or a 65 or a 70, if it is an easy architecture paper in the GATE examination, and if it's a tough paper, then a 50, 55 might be sufficient. I'm assuming that much you guys know, that 60 to 65 is the ballpark expectation for a normal level paper that you should have if you want to get somewhere around the top 100 ranks. Okay, so that is a mark that you are trying to target. That is through marks. The other way to look at it is, I cannot say how much marks have I prepared for at this point of time. So I'll say, what percentage of the syllabus have I covered? Okay, so you are aware of the GATE syllabus. You have got 7 plus 3 plus 3, 13 overall sections which are there. You have to prepare for 10 of them if you're already decided whether you want to go in for architecture or for planning. Large number of students, when they start so early, they do not decide at this point of time whether they're going to go for architecture or planning. They probably go through all our classes as architecture as well as the planning part. And once they get into the mocks stage, somewhere in the month of late November or early December, they decide, okay, architecture seems to be making more sense for me. I'm stronger in these topics, so I will take the architecture paper. Or they say that, no, M-Plan is what I want to do. I definitely do not want to do architecture, so this is going to be my paper. So the decision of taking either the architecture paper or the planning paper, that happens for a good number of students in the months of end November and December. But at least definitely by middle to end of December, you need to decide, because the last 4 or 5 mocks you should give only in the section that you have finally decided that you want to attack, which is either the architecture section or the planning section. That is my advice for 99% of my students. Nothing is 100% is required. You can still on the date of the examination, go and open the paper and see, oh, architecture is easier than planning. Let me go for architecture. Although you may have, thought that you might probably give planning, but it is always safer to go with a planned approach. Okay. So, what do you mean by growing at 20% annually? So am I right in saying this? In the first year from, let's say, 100, it becomes 120. In the second year, it again becomes 140. So as you are saying, increase by 1 million. So in the first year, it is 5 million. In the next year, it is 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 9 million, 10 million. So in how many years will it take to double the growth? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So you are saying this is the answer. Unfortunately, this is not correct. Unfortunately, this is not correct. The population at the end of the next year was 6. Okay. Now, this is going to grow at 20%. The growth is always not 1 million. The growth is on the population which was existing in the previous year. So from 6, if it has to grow, it will not grow to 7. It will grow to 7.2. 6 into 20% higher will make it as 7.2 and not 7. Okay. I'll tell you how to go about doing it very, very easily. Just take a calculator. Okay. Take a calculator, put 5 into 1.2. Okay. And just keep looking at the data. You don't have to press anything. Okay. So you press 5 into 1.2 and you can see that it has become 6. Into 1.2 means increasing it by 20%. Into 1 means keeping it the same. Into 1.1 means increasing it by 10%. So into 1.2 means it has increased by 20%. Now the whole thing, 5 into 1.2, whatever that value is, and that value is 6. If I multiply that with 1.2, so you don't have to put a bracket. In the calculator, you just say into 1.2 again. Okay. It will show that the value has changed to 7.2. Now you multiply that 7.2 again with 1.2 and you will see that the value has become 8.64. You multiply this again with 1.2 and it will grow higher than 10. Okay. So 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So total 1, 2, 3rd year, 4th year. This is the answer and not this. Okay. So this is the way to increase something by 20%. Just note that if you are not aware of it already. If you want to increase something by 25%, okay, you multiply it with into 1.25. If you want to increase something by 90%, you multiply it with 1.9. If you want to increase something by 100%, into 2. If you want to increase it by 150%, into 2.5. These are some basic things that you should know as far as calculation is concerned. Also, if let's say, for example, you want to decrease something, let us say that you want to decrease something, you want to decrease 90 by 10%. What you need to do is 90 into 0.9 and it will decrease by 10%. Because if you look at 10% of 90, it is 9, which means what we're talking about is 81. So 90 into 0.9 will give you 81. So I've just explained to you what is the meaning of multiplying by a number less than 1 or multiplying by a number greater than 1. This will help you do your calculations a little faster. But this was still a easy question. I'm assuming that all of you have been able to understand these 5 questions because these are on the simpler side. Yeah. Now here comes a question which was easy, but a large number of people ended up taking too much of time and then answering the question wrong. Okay. So do it peacefully and you will get the answer right. Okay. So I'm just hoping that you all are able to do this peacefully and get the answer right because you have learned your lessons. Anyone with answers? Come on, answers. Adil, Lavanya. Okay, B3 has answered it as C. That is root 3. So when people got this particular question in an exam scenario, they made the drawing 4 or 5 times and scratched it and messed with it because of time pressure, because of exam pressure. When the same drawing was given, the same question was given to students in a relaxed environment, they were able to get the drawing right in the first or in 2 shots, and they were able to get to the answer. And that is the difference between time pressure and no time pressure. Yeah. Let me just try to see if you guys have got your drawings right. Yeah. So you've got one line like this, and you've got another line like this. Okay. And this is where your X is, and this is where your Y is, and this is where your Z is. Okay. So this is the first part of the entire thing. Okay. In terms of directions. Then it goes something like, and all of these lines are 1 kilometers. So this is going to go like this. Then from here, 1 kilometer, it will go a little beyond Y. Yeah. And then again 1 kilometer, and it will again come back to south of Z. So this is what is going to happen. Finally, that this will reach south of Z. And what they are asking you to calculate is this distance. Yeah. So you know what you have to do. If you've got this diagram right, you wouldn't have too much of a difficulty getting the answer. To get this distance, and you know that they have been showing, directions, basically hinting at angles and so on. So you will say, okay, let me join this here, and let me join this here. So this is a right angle triangle. Yeah. So this is 1, this is 1, this is 1. So this is also going to be 1. This part is clear to you. This ZY is also 1, and YX is also 1. Okay. This much you guys are aware. So from this, you should be able to find ZX. So this is another right angle triangle that you see out here, right? That because one direction is northeast and the other is southeast, so you can look at it. It's a right angle triangle. So if this is 1 and this is 1, then this becomes the hypotenuse. So if that is the hypotenuse, then this entire thing will become a root 2. And if this is going to be a root 2 and this is 1, then this entire thing again is going to be a root 2 plus a root 2 square plus 1 square, which is going to become a root 3. We have just used Pythagoras theorem to get to the answer. Okay, because there are 2 right angle triangles, we have used Pythagoras theorem to get to the answer. Okay. I am assuming people do not have a problem solving it. If anybody has got stuck, it is because they did not get the diagram right. Correct me if I'm mistaken. How many of you require to do the diagram multiple number of times, scratch it again, draw it once more, or ended up making 2 or 3 or 4 diagrams? Okay, so I expected that, and so that's what I told you, that in the exam pressure, this is likely to happen where you don't get the diagram right. But wasn't the question actually easy? I mean, all of you are saying right now that we end up drawing it multiple number of times. When I draw it, it looks so simple. But when you drew it, you ended up confusing yourself. Obviously, I knew the answer. I've practiced it before, so I knew it. But you also have to realize that putting yourself under pressure is not going to help. Till now, all the 6 questions that you have seen, they all have been on the easier side. You could have answered them. Okay, tell me if any of those 6 questions that you have seen, they were not easy. Okay, I am going to quickly walk you through all of those 6 questions. Tell me any of those questions were difficult. Till now, all the 6 questions